I know. I know. The memes, they're pretty great. There is just something incredibly satisfying about poking holes in a thing that you've loved so very much and has broken your heart just one too many times. And when it comes to The Mandalorian, and especially to the season finale that we had just a few days ago, there's something glaring that pops out. Actually, there's a lot of glaring things that pop out if you're paying attention. And I'm not talking about a guy that is in jeans and a t-shirt that's stuck off to the side, and I'm not talking about a Starbucks cup either. But there were some things. Now, what we didn't need was Mark Hamill talking about the secrecy of his appearance in the Season 2 finale. Well, let's shed, gosh, that's easy for me to say. Let's shed some light on that and have a laugh or two. Let's also shed some more light on the actual actor portrayal of Luke Skywalker and on the idea for the show going forward. And I'm not talking about just The Mandalorian here. Are you ready? Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hiss and foes, welcome to the Culture Casino!
So, here's the unfortunate article that appeared after the famous green lightsaber cut through an army of dark troopers. In the words of Robert Meyer Burnett on an appearance on Midnight's Edge, he came in and absolutely wrecked shop. Now, some have argued that he does so in a way that we've never seen before. And I think that's more than a little bit true. In fact, it's entirely true. I don't think we've ever seen Luke Skywalker perform in this way. And since the beginning of the season, these dark troopers were set up as a foreboding and menacing future foe that the heroes would find almost no solution for, especially in this episode. The forceful pounding of the metal Centurion hands, dark trooper hands pounding dents into the blast door, seemed like our story might be cut short. From the far reaches of space, a singular X-Wing approaches and lands on the Imperial Light Cruiser. Cara Dune downplays its significance, one single X-Wing. The battering of the blast door continues, and then it stops. A familiar scene starts to play out as a lone Jedi wades through a swath of dark troopers with a brief color flash of green that it was almost out of place maybe, or carefully placed in what was otherwise a black and white shot. Then what would have been a very tense moment for our heroes fades as the hooded figure reveals their face. And of course it's Luke, green lightsaber and all, or Luke-ish. Luke light, Luke reminiscent. Well, at least it had Luke's voice. And say what you will about the cosmetic application of the CGI on a pretty decent look-alike actor to begin with. In that moment where it was there was some uncanniness, and of course there was, but for a lot of people, including myself, it was passable. Not great, but not overly convincing, but not terrible. We had heard, and I had been told, that it was possible that Luke Skywalker might appear in this episode or in one of the Mandalorian episodes along the way, but the fact that Mark had never been seen on the site to film the scene, of course, could not have mattered less in this equation, because it was never going to be him, obviously. In fact, this is actually one of many articles that I have here, practically bragging about him keeping his secret, which I found funny. I had heard a bit about it. Drunk 3PO had talked about it, and several others had as well. And no one really ran with it except for Jay, who, mentioned it outright. I alluded to it, but I was very careful because, again, there were a lot of things I'd heard that either happened, didn't happen, were filmed, or didn't appear, that I didn't want to be one of those folks that said something that didn't turn out to be accurate. And that's still going to happen from time to time, because a lot of times I deal in what's in production or pre-production or in the early stages, whatever words you want to throw at it. But I don't ever want to be a scooper. So it wasn't important to me to break that story or to even lean into it. So some felt that it was actually a bit sketchy to talk about, since it also, because it was so rumor driven, but also because it was like a huge spoiler, right? I felt that if it was true, I would have heard more about it. So I'd heard 3 different conflicting versions of the appearance that he might be involved in, one of which actually included Ahsoka's presence. So again, I didn't have enough to say anything, and I wasn't going to anyway. But let's talk more about the articles and what really matters. There is one actor, this one specific actor, that is now being tapped to portray Luke Skywalker, and possibly for more than one appearance. More than one appearance, you say, Culture? What does that mean? Well, let's start with the season finale of The Mandalorian. First of all, from the article, when Luke Skywalker showed up on The Mandalorian, it certainly looked a lot like the Jedi that we know and love. We'd also recognize Mark Hamill's voice from a mile away, but the actual in-the-flesh actor was Max Lloyd-Jones. Let's introduce you. Although the London-born thespian isn't a household name, he has a pretty solid resume, including The Adventures in Babysitting, The Sandlot, iZombie, Switched at Birth, and Project Blue Book. And perhaps most interestingly, he's credited for the role of Blue Eyes, aka the chimpanzee in the War for the Planet of the Apes. That's a pretty high-profile CGI-based role, so it makes sense as to why Lucasfilm might have turned to him to do some CGI acting for one of their most famous Jedis. Aside from the fact that Mark Hamill obviously can't play his younger self anymore, sorry Mark, it's not out of the ordinary to have another actor step into the role. Yes, Hamill will always be known as Luke Skywalker, of course, but like any popular character, others have stepped into the roles over the years depending on the medium that Luke has been appearing in. Voice actor Bob Bergen is probably the most well-known, as he's the official voice double for Mark Hamill and has played the character in numerous video games and computer games over the years. Eric Bauza has taken the role of Luke in the characters on many LEGO adventures, including LEGO Star Wars Droid Tales, LEGO Star Wars Yoda Chronicles, and the most recent, and as an aside, I'm going to say piece of garbage, the Star Wars Holiday Special. Anyway, I could read on throughout this article, but it essentially goes through the actor's resume, which, again, I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff, and he does look very similar to Mark Hamill, so it didn't take a lot of work to apply a mask, and it certainly, the only thing that was truly odd was the mouth, of course, because it was had to be timed with Mark Hamill's voice performance. Other than that, I think this might be a character that would require very little work, or I should say actor, that would require very little work to actually move forward in the role of Luke Skywalker. Well, why is that important? Well, here we go. Since Friday, I had been very poorly keeping a secret. In fact, I'd been keeping a secret very poorly for much longer than that. Sometimes I find myself hinting at things when I talk to others on their channels. And as you know, because you're regular viewers, when I'm on my channel, I don't dive into politics or I don't dive heavily into rumors usually. I try to stick to the business side of pop culture and entertainment. And when I'm guesting in different places, sometimes the gloves come off. And I have to say, I have some amazing viewers in my audience, and I appreciate each and every one of my subscribers and, of course, my members very much. But I have one very hawk-eyed viewer that brought to my attention an article yesterday. In fact, Lord Vader, who here on YouTube is often in the chats of many of your favorite creators, sent this to me via Twitter. And I can actually now directly mention something that I have heard and is actually in the earliest steps of production. And in this exclusive from Fandom Wire, so it's a step up from We've Got This Covered, but still consistent with what I've heard. And again, because it's the earliest stages of production is how we'll put this, put some salt on this, because while it may be in the process, it may not actually happen, because as we know, production doesn't mean that things actually come to fruition. So, from the article, Luke Skywalker series in development at Disney Plus. Exclusive. While most fans weren't happy with the sequel trilogy, Luke Skywalker especially, Disney's plus Star Wars content has been well received. With loads of new shows coming to the service, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy promises that there is a story for everyone in a galaxy far, far away. And as long as she's not involved, I'm adding, she's right. If she's a galaxy far, far away, then Star Wars will be much better off. Anyway, beyond that, and of course this is mega spoilers, so just keep that in mind. Fandom Wire can exclusively reveal that Lucasfilm and Disney Plus are in the early stages of development, or developing, a Luke Skywalker series set around the time era of The Mandalorian. Having been kept in secret, or a secret, in The Mandalorian's second season finale, Mark Hamill surprised fans with the de-aged look of the character. Well, it's not actually true. No word on who is set to direct or produce, but as we said, this project is in early development. And that's true. For all these reports, it's important to stress that in development means teams connected to Lucasfilm are prepping and writing the following projects. It does not guarantee that it will make it to air. So they basically just said the same thing that I've been saying for a very long time. You can put something in development, but it can go into development and never come out. So there are talks being held on if Mark Hamill should return with the de-aging technology. Right now, the studio is leaning towards a recast due to the expense and current imperfections of the technology. Again, I understand that. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier star, Sebastian Stan, is one name being considered for the role of the iconic Jedi. That casting would surely make some people happy. I'm not sure why. He doesn't look very much like Luke, but okay. Though it may be recast, we're told Mark Hamill is willing to let Sebastian Stan play his character. We'll see what happens as things develop. Now, of course, this is where my information diverges from what Fandom Wire here is reporting, and that is that they're leaning towards, obviously, Max Lloyd-Jones. So we'll have to see. Anyway, the whole point of this article was to bring up the fact that you possibly could see a Luke Skywalker show, and that may or may not appeal to many of you. Anyway, this video went on a little bit longer than I actually intended, but I have to ask you this one question. Based on the season finale of The Mandalorian and the performance that you saw in the last few minutes of the show, would you like Disney to take a run at the Luke Skywalker series for real? Since this is something that's been bandied about a bit and is actually now started to get some legs, are you going to be comfortable with that? Is Luke's portrayal by another actor something that could be done, and done in a way that fans would accept it? Do you think that it gives them an opportunity at divergent storylines, which I have been told is something that they're more than willing to pursue? I guess we'll have to see. I'm leaning towards the idea that this is something that could happen. I'm leaning towards the idea that it's something I've heard for a little bit of time now that may happen. I am not going to say that it will happen, so take that for what it's worth. Do be sure to support other independent creators here on the platform. They have no additional voices helping them out. In fact, right now, YouTube is making it very difficult for us to promote even our own channels or the channels of our friends, since during live streams, moderators and channel owners can't actually seem to get links posted that link to even other channels on YouTube, let alone outside approved sources like Indiegogo and similar. I know that I'm more than a little bit frustrated over the course of the weekend, but hey, I'll still continue to talk about all the amazing creators that we have on this platform, so do be sure to pick out your favorite 3, 4, 10, 20 creators that you want to support, and please do so. Thank you so very much for watching the video. I appreciate each and every one of you out there. I feel like I don't say that often enough, although I try to say it every single video, but you guys really truly matter, and you're actually what makes the platform work, whether or not the owners of the company realize it or not. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't care. Anyway, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today.
Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.